This episode is part one of a two-part conversation with director Alisa Kovalenko. So our guest today is Alisa Kovalenko, an award-winning Ukrainian filmmaker who's been documenting the war since it began. And so Alisa, thank you for being on Real Ukraine with us. And before we kind of dive into all of your films, which you have a prolific career, we really want to know more about you. Where did you grow up and what brought you into film?
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to be part of your podcast. It's of course long story. How to make it short? It's always a question. I grew up in Zaporizhia, which is kind of Ukrainian Detroit, and it's a city full of metallurgical factories, metal factories. And my parents were metal workers, and my grandparents were metal workers. So I'm from really working class family, but something went wrong probably with me, so I didn't become a worker at metal factory.
You didn't follow in your parents' and grandparents' footsteps.
No, but when I was 5 years old, my father somehow managed to buy a video cassette player, and there were only two films. One Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and one Japanese animation. And but for me it was something amazing. I was watching these two films again and again. I don't know how, maybe, I don't know, thousands times, and I fell in love with cinema. After I was kind of cinephile, became a cinephile later when I was a teenager, but I never thought that I could become filmmaker. For a girl from Zaporizhia, from a poor family, working class family, I couldn't even dream about this. But at that time I was dreaming to become a writer. So first I studied journalism, because I thought that it's also kind of a way to go to writing. At some moment I realized that journalist really doesn't give you this opportunity to go very deep into things you want to discover. And I started to think about filmmaking, and I decided to study in the main film school in Ukraine, in Kiev. It's a Karpenko-Karey University of Cinema, Theater and Television. So I just decided to change my life, to change my profession. So I studied documentary filmmaking in Kiev. That's in a short way.
Which is kind of a form of journalism anyways, right? So even though you went into writing in journalism, which, by the way, the writing features in some of your work, My Dear Theo, which we will get to, but you do manage to still use those skills, and the journalism skills definitely apply to documentary filmmaking. I also consider you a journalist because you are chronicling so much of history and culture that's happening in Ukraine, and you've been doing that since day one. And there's not many of those who have literally lived that entire trajectory from 2014 to now. So you're still a journalist.
Yeah, just a documentary cinema, I think it gives you a bit more instruments and more time also. You can spend 3 years making one film. Of course, it's also hard process, but it gives you opportunity to go much deeper and to discover deeper.
I kind of want to start with your first film, Alisa and Warland, because I feel that we are introduced to you and then we follow you as you go to the front line. So I want to discuss this because we start the movie with you in the Karpenko Film School, in the dorms. How did you go from being a film student to a filmmaker on the front line?
Because when revolution started on Maidan, first of all, I felt myself as a part of this movement, because for me it was an opportunity for big changes in my country, and in following direction, our country as a democratic country, as a part of European Union, and it was a big and important moment. But also because we were a student of like documentary faculty, we felt that just we also have to film this moment. We felt even obliged to film it, to document what's like happening. And so we were filming, but we were also building barricades. We were filming and we were bringing oil for Molotov cocktails. So it was kind of existing in this reality, being part of this reality, but also documenting this reality. And it was amazing and beautiful when you feel yourself as a part of like important moment of history, but at the same time you also documenting this moment. And after Maidan revolution, annexation of Crimea started, and after like Russian aggression in Donbass started. So I also felt that it's important to go to Donbass and to document what was happening, what started there. So it was kind of impulse which came from the revolution on Maidan, and it's like motivated me to go to Donbass and to continue document these historical events in Ukraine. That's how I went to Donbass and started to film even there.
It's interesting when you're saying you're documenting and making Molotov cocktails, because it feels like because you did eventually enlist and serve in the Ukrainian army. I feel like you're being a soldier in Maidan with making weapons, essentially, so that even though you weren't formally enlisted back then, you already had that mindset of defending Ukraine and building a weapon in order to help Ukraine defend itself.
Yeah, but it was also actually provoke a big like inner dilemma inside myself, because you cannot be both. You have to choose what is more important for you, to be a director, filmmaker, to document, or to like mainly be participant of the events. And this dilemma started to grow inside me from starting from Maidan revolution to the like beginning of full scale invasion, and it's still inside me. I still actually thinking, should I go back to frontline? Should I defend my country there with a weapon? And I still don't have answer. There are like both things are important in a different way. When I'm telling to some of my friends uh, that I'm still planning to go back to frontline to fight. They say, no, but you're doing important work with like making films, raising awareness about like Ukraine and about different important topics. But when I listen to my heart, I cannot persuade my heart with the rational arguments. I just feel that now it's more important to defend Ukraine on the front line, and it's the first and foremost front line.
The dilemma comes up in your filmmaking. You're so raw and open about what you're going through, and I think that makes you such a, for me, a relatable, character. You're the director, you're facing all these difficult decisions, and there's a line I really loved in Alisa and Warland where one of the soldiers says to you, your job is not to carry the weight of the nation. Because you are a woman filmmaker and a woman in the front, do you feel like you do have to carry more weight?
We are all carrying all this weight of this war, and we have to take more responsibility on our shoulders, all of us. And it's not exceptional for me. I started to feel it already back in 2014, and what happened with me, it made me like understand better and deeper about this concept of this responsibility, like, and sometimes that you have to sacrifice things for something like bigger. And it's not only about your decision, it's just realizing inside yourself that there are some values for which you have to be ready to die. You have to be ready to sacrifice some of your private life.
And so I feel like being a mom and also has a big say in how you feel, because on the one hand you don't want to go because you don't want them to be without a parent, but at the same time you're like, but this is why I'm going, because so that the future generations can live on, and you're doing it for your son, for the future. Am I right in thinking that?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's even more than country. It's about your values. For me, first of all, I felt when I went to frontline and I became a soldier, I felt that I'm fighting for my values, for the world with this just basic human values, for freedom to decide, to have freedom to decide about your future, to give your children this freedom to decide about their future. And it's also something like paradoxal in the things that when you have a child, from one side you feel that responsibility, your motherhood
Mhm.
responsibility, and you feel that no, you shouldn't leave your son, and you should stay with your son. But at the same time you feel that it's a bigger responsibility, that you actually fighting for a better world for your son. And it's really hard balance of it was you know um, fragile balance of these two things, two feelings inside me. And but later, when I was on the front line, this fact that I was a mother gave me deeper understanding for what I'm really fighting
Right.
there, and for what I will die there. It gave me a lot of power, actually. The fact that I was a mother, this love to my son, and also this desire to survive and to go back to my son, to give him all my love and all my support. Uh, I felt like a superpower.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up for anybody who's going to be listening to the show, everything that you just discussed is in the film called My Dear Theo, as well as Alisa and Warland, because you do then document these feelings. You have this beautiful poetic narration throughout these films, not just with your voice and your letters to your son, but also you show the nature of Ukraine and the beauty of Ukraine. You're showing the country in different ways. I really want people to understand that they can go and see these films and really witness through a first-hand account what is happening. So with My Dear Theo, how are you actually making a film from a front line?
I didn't plan to make any film on the front line. I actually, at the beginning of Full Scale Invasion, I felt that I died as a documentary director. I didn't feel any power, and I was thinking what you can do with your camera when bombs are falling on the heads of your family, all your loved ones, your friends. I didn't feel I didn't see any sense in cinema at that time. When I joined a volunteer unit and I went to frontline, I also didn't feel this kind of sense to make a film or try to make a film. But I started to reflect much more about memory. I wanted to save some memory for my son in case I would die. Just also save some moments of our routine lives with my brothers in arms, sister in arms. So it was more a chronicle, like a video diary. It was not really for film. I didn't think that I will manage to make a film out of this. I was also started to write letters to my son for memory. I thought that if I would die, and my son will grow up and he will have a questions why my mother went to fight, why she left me. I wanted to give him answers to all these questions. It was accidentally that I started to watch it together with my friend and colleague, and she came to my house, and we started to watch what I filmed. I said it's nothing interesting, it's just routine life, super boring, nothing's happening, because I was filming usually during these moments of waiting. But when we started to watch, we realized that there was something unique in this footage, because they all were from the really perspective of a soldier, and this routinity of life of the front line. It actually showed this invisible side of war, because usually we see films like with action, like wow, soldiers,
Yeah.
fighters, like wow, commandos, and but actually on the front line it's not like this, and 80% of time you are waiting. You're waiting in trenches, and after bomb can fall on your head and you dead. And there is kind of nothing heroic in this picture, but it's a true life and true reality there. And I wanted to also heroization, make this kind of deheroization of the image,
You wanted to
because
dispel the myth of
yes,
action soldier, basically,
yes,
right?
because frontline is it like hard daily routine work, and it's not always about heroism. And I think there is a distortion of the image of the front line, like showing heroes. So if you are not dying as a hero, if you're a hero or no, if you just spent 3 days on the front line and what you did, it was you just dig trench and after you are dead, so you're not a hero. And I wanted to really show this another side of the front line, this true side of the front line. And
Yeah.
also these moments of like waitings, actually for me they were like so it was one of the strong existential moments for me on the front line, because during this time you're waiting under bombings, you're thinking about life, about love, about your child, about so many like important existential things. And actually I wanted to make this film in a way to talk about this existential level of your feelings, your like emotional perception of this war, which camera cannot capture. So you only can describe it with your words. Yeah, so actually after watching these materials with my friend Marina, I started to think that maybe I could transform these footages and my experience and also my letters to my son into film. But until the last moment, until the first editing day, I didn't believe I will manage to make a film out of it.
That film, I thought it was so beautiful, and I felt the love in your words to your son, and it really hit me emotionally, and it was, to me, it was so lyrical. And it really, truly moved me. When you had this footage and then you had this writing, how did you decide? How do you match it up? How do you decide? Are you going to say your diary, is it in chronological order? Is it going to go with these trees? Is it going to go with this soldier digging a trench? How did you put it all together and make those decisions as well?
It was a long process to understand how the structure, how the dramaturgic arc should be. I didn't know at all at the beginning, and I also didn't have a lot of footages. So first, I just selected footages which I felt important, and after I also put all letters together, so in a chronological way, and I went to my editor Kasia Bonecka. She is a Polish editor based in France. So we started editing in a small village in France, small town, Montségur. And we just started to watch together all footages. And it was interesting thing that for us, immediately we realized what will be the ending point of the film. So actually we started from the end, because for us it was clear this is the highest emotional point of the film, that this should be the end. And after we went from the end back to the beginning, and the most complicated part was the beginning, how much you put at the beginning, how, like, because actually at the beginning you give the system like of coordinates, yeah, for the whole film. And we spent a lot of time actually setting the beginning of the film, and we tried to be very precise with the moment, like visual moment, and with the letter. So it was like this process of like making this mosaic picture.
And so, how old was Theo when you were writing these letters? And how old is he now? And has he seen the film? And what does he think of this that his mother was doing? And I mean, I think it's just the greatest thing for him. It's his own time capsule for when he's older, which is a generous gift from you, but it's also a gift to all of us. But I want to know what Theo thinks.
Theo was 4 when full-scale invasion started, but he was 4 turning 5, because in the film we can see his birthday, and like that I'm sending him a video for his birthday. Theo watched this film maybe already 10 times, I don't know. A lot, because we traveled to the world premiere together. We were together with Stefan, with my partner, father of Theo. Theo was in the middle between us, and we were holding his hands. And it was beautiful to observe him, how he was reacting on like different moments from the film. And it was like everything, he was commenting everything. And
Great.
at one moment, he said, it was really very painful and like sensitive moment for me when I'm in the film, I'm saying, Theo, I went to the front lines, that you and other children will not have to go to the front line in front of us in 5, 10, 15 years. And he looked at me and say, Mom, next time I will go. I don't want you to go front line anymore. And I was like struck by this. It was so like strong moment of like his feelings. Yeah, he felt it, but not, I think, that full picture he will see later when he will grow up. And it's also interesting how film can kind of grow inside him, and his reflections and his perception of the film can also change with the time.
I wanted to pivot, and I was wondering if that's okay with you.
Our conversation with director Alisa Kovalenko continues in episode 4. Be sure to follow Real Ukraine on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.